You're watching CHCO-TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the October 2025 regular council meeting for the Municipal District of St. Stephen. I'm Florence Mitchell. In today's meeting, Cindy Hartford of the Milltown Activity Group Committee will make a presentation to Council. Under bylaws, Council will move to give Municipal Plan Bylaw M4 its second and third readings by title. Council will also move to amend Zoning Bylaw Z4 with recommendations of the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee, and to give the bylaw its second reading by summary and third reading by title. Under new business, Council will move to approve the Community Wellbeing Task Force terms of reference and to direct the Chief Administrative Officer to create the task force. Council will also move to seek the relocation and removal of the existing homeless shelter from within municipal district boundaries, and that a report be brought back to Council no later than February 25th, outlining recommended actions, timelines, and any required agreements or legislative steps to achieve this outcome. Finally, Council will move to approve the establishment of a full-time communications officer position and a human resources coordinator position within the municipal district, to authorize the CAO to proceed with recruitment, and to incorporate the approved costs into the operating budget. Now let's join Council in the Moosehead Room at the Garcelon Civic Center in St. Stephen.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Municipal District of St. Stephen agenda, Wednesday, October 29, 2025 at 6 p.m. And call to order. Before we begin, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are gathered today on the ancestral unceded territory of Passamaquoddy people. I'll take a mover and seconder for the agenda of the regular council meeting held on October 29th, 2025 be approved with the addition of the following late agenda items under K, council reports, number 7, Councilor Cornish, L, closed session, 2, negotiations of an agreement, or number 2, negotiation of an agreement, not two agreements. Okay, yes, mover and seconder, Harding and Heislip. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Any conflicts of interest this evening? Seeing none. All right. I'll take a mover and seconder for the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 1st, 2025 be approved as presented.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Wheaton, Councilor Wright. Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Special council meeting. Mover and seconder that the minutes for the special council meeting held on October 15th, 2025 be approved as presented.
Moved.
Councilor Wright? Second. Councilor Cornish? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. Thank you. Public delegations, okay. Milltown Activity Group. Hello. Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
You
You can hear me, eh?
Yeah, I just hear, are you lit up?
I'm lit up.
All right.
I'm lit up. Not fired up, just lit up. Okay, my name is Cindy Hartford from Ward 2, and I want to thank Mayor McCachran, sorry, and Deputy Mayor Wheaton and Council for putting Meg on the agenda for tonight. Tonight I would like to talk a bit about the upper part of St. Stephen, which is Milltown, which is doing great. Okay, my roots for a lifetime have been there, but my branches cover all St. Stephen. When I joined this committee and looked around Milltown, it came to realization Milltown had been neglected. I felt guilty as a lifetime resident in Milltown and knew things had to change. We needed our beautiful little community back. Tonight I am here as the president of MEG committee to give a bit of information as to what we do. MEG is a nonprofit group. We raise all of our own funds, plan our own events, and buy what is needed for the events. We have had many events over the last couple of years, thanks to the community for the support. The children and adults come to these smiles there's many smiles and praise, there's many smiles and praise warms of hearts. 2.5 years ago, our committee was formed with a great group. Our committee has changed some due to personal reasons, but we still have those dedicated Milltowners holding on. Our members are there faithfully, and we have some great volunteers. MEG has a private Facebook page, Milltown Activities Group. We have a lot of people from this community that love to read our posts and see our photos. Not only our community and surrounding areas, but to name a few, we have Toronto, Utah, Alberta, Texas, and more. We welcome all, but we are here for sunshine and rainbows, not dark clouds or storms. We ask all comments are kept in good taste. If not, we will remove the post off of social media. If you have an issue with one of our events or any issue, please contact me or another committee member. Also, we are always open for ideas and welcome anybody. We love to hear the new ideas. We as a committee meet once a month at Carmen's Diner and discuss our plan and our vision for Milltown. We are very proud of how far we have come in the short time of 30 months. Most of you sitting around the table, I have seen at our events, and thank you for your support. Thank you for what you have shown us, from the town crew, office staff, mayor, deputy mayor, and council. A special thanks to Kev Sumner, who I'm sure he whispered to himself many times, "Not her again." I'm not one to give up. Thank you for your prompt return of all my emails, accepting all our photos that we took around Milltown and passed them in to you, and it was handed in, and acting on them properly. Sean, your time and effort that you put in for us at our lighting of the bandstand last year, 2024, was heartwarming. Bringing Milltown #1 Truck Cub to our event after us suggesting it, and your reply was, "No way possible. I don't have the time or manpower." It brought back a whole lot of memories and a few tears when we seen that truck coming up the road with Sparky on it, and the kids was amazed. Michelle Martin and Patty Anderson, thank you for all your work as well. You're the best. We just had our second annual Witches Walk with a great turnout. Special thanks to the Superstore for donating 60 pumpkins to pass out. Meg provided a large treat for all the kids. It sure was a great fall fun night. We have our Remembrance Day service happening on November the 11th at the Milltown Memorial Park, directed by Anthony Daigle. Special thanks to the Milltown Legion Branch number 48 for donation to contribute to the honorary crosswalk. Also, a donation of flags. We want to extend a welcome to you all. Lighting of the bandstand with Santa and Mrs. Claus arriving on the new fire truck Friday, November the 28th. I hope that's right, Sean. Approved. Craft and bake sale will take place on Saturday, November the 29th at the St. Patrick's Hall. We hope you will join us. Milltown has a rich heritage. We feel we are gaining on it. Working together as a community has shown us it can happen. We are having issues with the lights and electrical at the Jake Donahue Park and hoping it can be resolved to have it lit up for the special holiday season. We have a vision. We want to work together to make those visions happen. So tonight, as we are heading towards the end of another year, Meg wants to thank you for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. It's really good words to hear, and as someone that married a Milltowner, she keeps me in line and makes sure I listen to you as well. But also, you put the rubber to the road as well, so I appreciate all the work you've done up there. Oh, okay. Okay, public comment period. Chandra? Oh.
Good evening. Celia Morgan from Ward 2. Two things. I wanted to inquire about the relocation of the skateboard park discussed at the last Council of the Whole. Specifically, what public engagement will happen to select the new location and design? I'm hoping there will be an update on that soon. Just a comment, I would like to thank Jeff and his staff for hosting the budget session last night. Although the turnout by residents was small, it was informative for those in attendance. I would like to thank Mayor McEachran, Deputy Mayor Wheaton, Councillor Greenlaw, and Councillor Wright for being in attendance and interacting with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cecile.
Chandra Best from Ward 3. First of all, I'm sorry I missed last night. I truly am. I was really looking forward to it, but I just couldn't get there, so I do regret it. I'm hoping I can, hear more about what happened, how things went. Just a couple of comments for tonight. The task force that we have in here, the terms of reference on page 149. I'm happy to see the task force being formed. I know that it was talked about at one of the last meetings with the Concerned Citizens Group. I do feel slightly concerned about how the task force will perform and what it will accomplish, though, based on what we see in the terms of reference, and particularly the fact that there's no performance metrics, among other things. So I hope that that will be thought about as you go forward. I also just wanted to mention I would really like to see the development agreement and regarding the 66-unit apartment building that's going up. I know that a lot of us are wondering about the number of affordable units, what kind of incentives were implemented for that, what any potential impacts might be, positive or negative, to our property taxes going forward. And I know there's still a lot of questions about the results of the traffic study, so it would be great if we could find out, if we can't see it, then why, and any information about that. And last but not least, I just wanted to say clearly, seeing as I don't feel that the public was asked about it at all on the greenhouse, I thoroughly 100% disagree with the town being involved and work being involved in a non-priority function. I think that the town should not be in the greenhouse business. I'm also very curious to know how any overruns to the costs are going to be handled, and any other information about how the council came to arrive at a decision to go and implement and get into that business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. David Whittingham from Ward 2 from town. Just a couple comments. Really appreciated the CEO, Jeff, putting on the budget information session yesterday, and the staff that worked with him on that. It was very helpful and very informative. Again, as reiterated before, I wish there was be more residents there to participate in it. My comment actually is about the public comment section, and I think I brought this up before. Now that the CEO and other senior staff reports have been moved from from the council, the end of month council meetings, to the committee of the whole meetings at mid-month, there's now no opportunity for public comment about those reports now that they're at the other meeting. And if council could consider adding a public comments period to the committee of the whole meetings at mid-month. And the other, one more point, coming up, there's a resolution regarding, I think the final, moving the shelter from outside, from out of the boundaries of the municipal district. And I think completely out of the it's my understanding from this motion, like completely out of our municipality. And I'm just wondering if the proposal would consider, being moved out of the urban area as a more realistic option. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
My name is Chris Booth, Ward 3. I'm here to oppose bylaw Z4 for the third time. I don't know anybody in town that supports this bylaw. It's a precursor. It makes your little socialist dreams of making St. Stephen a 15-minute city easier to accomplish. It attacks your farming, your land, your water, planting vegetables, heating with wood, what temperature you can have your house on, how many lumens of light you're allowed to use. It says that you can't do anything that they don't like above grade, above water. Well, unless you live underneath the water, all the property is above water. It all flows down into a valley. So that'll attack your dog. Can you change a tire? Like what you're allowed to build, the bill attacks that you cannot build unless it's a primary residence, yet the province says that you cannot hook electricity up unless it's a temporary building. So that's out. Two buildings max. One has to be your resident, which means only one outbuilding. If you look at any nice house in town, I can almost guarantee you 95% of the time, anybody that has something that's really nice started with a trailer. And they lived in that trailer and they had their own little business and then they saved their money and then they built something nice. This is not Toronto. That people here don't make $500,000 a year. So you're basically saying that the only person that can afford to actually build in this town is Brookfield, which you work for, and I think it's a huge conflict of interest.
Thank you.
Of course, you're cutting me off. You keep cutting me off. Everybody else gets 2 minutes, right? I'm going to leave, and I'm going to run against you because this agenda is your employer's agenda, Brookfield. Shouldn't even be allowed to vote on it.
Mayor and Council, thank you for taking my comment. My comments are directed to Agenda Item 1B, as David touched on, the notice of motion titled Removal of Homeless Shelter from the Community. I understand you'll be voting on this resolution tonight, and I want to draw your attention to one particular phrase. The motion states, "Therefore, be it resolved that the Municipal District of St. Stephen undertake all necessary efforts," and I quote, "to seek the relocation and removal of the existing homeless shelter from within the municipal boundaries." Now, benefit of the doubt is going to allow that this is a typo or a test to see if the public reads the agenda, but as it's written, removing the shelter from our municipal boundaries, I have to ask, are we really proposing here that the only shelter for people experiencing homelessness in St. Stephen be moved to rural District 10 or St. Andrews or St. George? Are we deciding to reject completely helping St. Stephen's most vulnerable population? I've been closely following your work as a council for a year and a half now, and I thank you for all your work. Nothing I've read in any meeting agenda in all the time that I've been doing this has compelled me to come to this microphone until tonight. Because when I read this resolution, I knew I needed to come here and speak for anyone whose voice is diminished and for what I'm sure are thousands of residents who want to see our homeless cared for and not cast out. So I understand there's a lot of talk about relocating the shelter to a less disruptive location. Fair enough, that discussion has its place, and much more can be said about that, but I only have 2 minutes. So barring any legal conversation here, I'm just here to implore you for this one thing. As representatives of every voter in this municipality, please reject a resolution that would reject our people who are most at risk. And remember that St. Stephen will be a stronger and prouder and better community when we resolve the causes of homelessness and addiction, and not when we exile and banish our neighbors who are suffering because of those causes. So thank you for your care and concern for our common good as you decide on this tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Okay, now we're into bylaws. I will take a mover and seconder for the proposed resolution that bylaw number M-4, being municipal plan bylaw for the municipal district of St. Stephen, be given a second reading by summary. I'll take a mover and seconder, Heislip and Cornish. Okay, let's see here. I'll have to read it. Oh, dear. Okay, it's going to be a while, folks. Bylaw title and scope. The Council of the Municipal District of St. Stephen, under the authority voted in it under the Community Planning Act, makes the following municipal plan bylaw. Number 1, bylaw number M-4, Municipal District of St. Stephen plan bylaw is hereby adopted. 2, this bylaw may be cited as St. Stephen's municipal plan. 3, this bylaw applies to the Municipal District of St. Stephen local government boundaries as outlined in subsection 36 of the Regulation 2022-50 under the Local Governance Act. This municipal plan bylaw contains statements of policy with respect to the section of to section 24, bracket 5 of the Community Planning Act, regarding the coordination of services and bylaws that pertain to the municipality's development. Proposals that is the opinion of council, advisable for the implementation of policies referred to in the plan. Descriptions of the measures to be taken in order to implement the plan. A 5-year capital budget for the physical development of the municipality. Okay, number 5, the purposes of this bylaw, the zones into which the municipality is proposed to be divided as shown on maps 1, 2, and 3. Number 6, the following bylaws and regulations or portions of the bylaws, and the regulations that regulate the lands within the municipal district of St. Stephen are hereby repealed and replaced. The bylaw M-2, a bylaw to adopt the Town of St. Stephen Municipal Plan enacted on December 29, 2020, and all amendments thereto. 2, the St. Croix River South Planning Area Rural Plan Regulation, Community Planning Act enacted in 2021. 3, St. David Planning Area Rural Plan Regulation, Community Planning Act enacted in 2009, and all amendments thereto. And 4, Dufferin Planning Area Rural Regulation enacted in 2022, Community Planning Act. All right, number 7, notwithstanding the repeal of the St. David Planning Area Rural Planning Regulation in the Community Planning Act, detailed in Section 6, Part A, B, and C of the Rural Plan, shall remain in force with the necessary modifications to the zoning map of the Schedule A, to exclude the territory within the local government boundaries of the Municipal District of St. Stephen referred to in Section 3. Number 8, notwithstanding the repeal of the St. Croix River of South Area Rural Plan Regulation under the Community Planning Act, detailed in Section 6, Part A, B, and C of the Rural Planning, shall remain in force with the necessary modifications to the zoning map of Schedule A to exclude the territory within the local government boundaries of the municipal district of St. Stephen referred to in Section 3. Ooh. All right. So hearing that, and where was I here? I had a mover, I had a seconder. Let's see, that the bylaw M-4 being municipal plan bylaw for the municipal district of St. Stephen be given, oh, no, that's the second reading, sorry. Let's take a vote. Any questions?
This is just on the municipal plan, not the zoning bylaw, not Z4, just on M4.
Z4, or M4 and zoning bylaw in Z4. Yes.
Then,
No, the way your agenda is set up, it's not. Alex's report says both, but we are required to do them one at a time, so.
Any more questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I need a mover and seconder for bylaw number M4, being municipal plan bylaw for the municipal district of St. Stephen, given its third and final reading by title only. Councilor Harding, Councilor Wright. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now we're on Z4. Sorry, Wayne. All right. Proposed resolution. I'll take a mover and seconder that the bylaw Z-4 being the zone bylaw for the municipal district of St. Stephen be amended by incorporating recommendation of the PRAC and be given its second reading by summary. Councilor Harding, or Councilor Hyslop and Councilor Harding. Okay. 1.0 bylaw title and scope. The Council of the Municipal District of St. Stephen, under the authority vote vested in under the Community Planning Act, makes the following zoning bylaw herein called the bylaw or zoning. Number 1, the bylaw Z-4, Municipal District of St. Stephen zoning bylaw is hereby adopted. 2, this bylaw may be cited as zoning bylaw for St. Stephen. 3, the bylaw applies to the municipal district of St. Stephen local government boundaries as outlined in subsection 36 of the regulation 2022-50 under the Local Governance Act. This, number 4, this zoning bylaw, 1, divides the municipal district into zones as shown on the zoning map. 2, prescribes powers reserved in the advisory committee. 3, regulates how land, buildings, and structures in any zone may be used. 4, sets standards that land use and placement, erection, alteration, and use of building and structures must conform to. And 5, prohibits the use, placement, erection, alteration of land, buildings, or structures other than in conformity with the purposes and standards mentioned in clause 1 through 4. For the purpose of this bylaw, the municipal district is divided into zones as shown on the municipal district of St. Stephen zoning map attached as Schedule A. The purposes of this bylaw, the municipal district is divided into overlay zones as shown on the municipal district of St. Stephen zoning map attached as Schedule B, Schedule C, and Schedule D. Number 7, the town of St. Stephen, the town of St. Stephen zoning bylaw Z-3 enacted on September 28th, 2022, and all amendments thereto and hereby repealed. So I had a mover, I had a seconder at the bylaw. Okay, mover and seconder. Any questions?
Yep.
Okay,
I've got a request for a minor change to Z4.
okay.
Yeah. So, Alec, we've talked about this. There was a small parcel of land on the Oak Haven Road, on the corner of the Benson Road and the Oak Haven Road, that we talked about rezoning from R3 to R2. so that it could be subdivided and provide some infill in a largely residentially, dense area there. So I'd like to put that forward as a change. And I got a statement to make afterwards, after Councillor Wright.
Alex, you want to speak on that?
Yeah. So yeah, this actually was raised to our attention just before the PRAC reviewed the bylaw for a second time. So it was brought forward to the committee to see if this is something that they would recommend to council. At the time, they said no, they wouldn't recommend it because this is council's purview to like rezone a parcel of land. So what could happen here is you could make a motion to amend, but you'd have to look at which area of the map you're talking about and that sort of thing. And the PRAC letter has an image of what that was actually being discussed, so you could reference that if you were to take up this amendment. But yeah, this type of thing, like with a new zoning bylaw, there's going to be people have different potential developments for land than the zoning bylaw imagines, and that's totally part of the process. It's acceptable to have a zoning bylaw passed and it not be 100% exactly the way the community develops in the future. And the way it works is you come to council with a rezoning application request, and so for other instances, and even this instance, if council decides not to accept this amendment from the Councillor Greenlaw, this individual could come forward to council and ask for rezoning of their land. That is 100% acceptable and part of the process.
So does that satisfy your request?
Well, I'd like to see, I'd like to make the motion to have it changed, and I'd like to have it voted on. It's a minor change. We're able to make the change, and moving forward, like, this was a very complex and convoluted process, hard for a lot of people to understand. So I would like to think that going down the road, what you talked about, that people can always go to PRAC and PRAC can recommend changes, council can approve them. And I hope that, especially for some of the areas where things were unzoned, people might have had plans to do certain things with their property, and this has changed that dynamic. So I think, council needs to understand that there are going to be some things coming through like this in the future. And I hope that we can, do our best to make sure that we understand and help people grow and develop the land that they have. So I'd like to have it at least like that put on the table to vote on.
Are we prepared for that type?
So, like I said, you'd have to, if you're going to make this motion, you'd have to cite like which land you're referring to on Schedule A that's being changed from one piece to another, and which zone. And I think you referenced from R3 to R2. But yeah, the image, if you were to take this up, the image would be in the letter from PRAC, but they weren't recommending at the time. That wasn't PRAC's recommendation. That was just what was being discussed, what was brought to PRAC's attention. So it's council's purview if you want to take this up at this time, or if you feel that it'd be better to look at through a rezoning application. If it was done in a rezoning application, the benefit of that is you get to look at it with community consultation perhaps, or from a view on like looking at the development proposal itself. From my point of view, I didn't see as a major change, like as I said to Councillor Greenlaw. It's on three sides there's houses already, but it really doesn't give it a lot of time for council to get into the weeds on it, and that may be something you want to do. So that it's really up to council at this point if you want to take that up at the 11th hour.
So my only issue with that is by not using the process that we're implementing, I'm not hearing from the neighbors that may not want that change. They may want it as it is. So I'd like to see them have a chance to have their voice on that. So we have to allow that, and that could happen through PRAC, the right process.
Yeah, and conversely, the person that owns the land now could do that now, could subdivide the land now the way it's zoned now. After this change, they will not be able to.
Well, no, they can.
Unless they go through a PRAC process, right? So that's what I'm saying, you're anyway. Do what you want to do. That's why I wanted a motion on the.
What council wants,
That's
but
why I wanted a motion on.
yeah.
procedure. Councilor Greenlaw's proposing an amendment, so we would need, that would be a motion, we would need a seconder, just on the amendment issue. And then you could vote on that, put that to bed, and then you go back to the original motion. That would be the order of operations. So just a matter of seeking a seconder on the proposed amendment, and that will get you started on the right procedural path.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is what you had to say anything related to this? No, sorry, Joyce. Like, because you had a comment. Is yours related to that topic, or?
I will say something about this, but I do have another comment that's different
Oh.
as well.
Okay, so the sec. Okay, Councilor Islip.
Yeah, no, I'm not very comfortable voting on something that just coming up at the nth hour. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, you know, we are counselors, and you can contact us at any time, especially another counselor. And I'm finding out this now tonight, and we don't have all the information, as everybody pointed out, or as Alex pointed out, and I don't feel comfortable on voting for it. So I think it should be done through the system, the way it works, and that's the way that it's designed, to have a rezoning. And all of a sudden, at the nth hour, now we're voting on some kind of, you know, that I don't know anything about, and so I'd rather it tabled, or you can go ahead. I'll vote no to it. So,
Councilor Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Regarding the amendment, again, I'm not comfortable changing Prax's view at this 11th hour. I live in a zone where there's currently no zoning regulations, anything goes, and we're getting a bunch of rules. So I understand that things can change, and it can change what your plans were, but in this particular instance, with it being so late to the game, I would like to see it work through the process. Council could even make an accommodation to perhaps waive a fee if that's possible. I don't know. Would just help us learn how the process works so that it's going through the proper channels. But a lot of people are having a lot of things changed, and I don't think most of the changes are onerous, really. I don't. So that's my position on the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, we still had the motion, and it was seconded with asking for those amendments. So mover and seconder, any more questions? On the amendment part of it, I mean. All those in favor? Aye. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all those opposed? Okay, so it's been shut down. But it's not over. Those changes can happen. I think we got to go through the process because the neighbors of that property may not want it changed to what we're thinking it's all right, and I don't want council to make that decision based on for the neighbors for the right reasons. All right, so it's been read. Now let's go back to the original resolution. I had my mover and seconder. Is there any more questions without the amendment for the second reading? Oh. Sorry, Councilor Wright.
Not a question, but just a comment and a clarification that if you have questions about it, you can always reach out to clarify that pre-existing legal uses are grandfathered in, and to state that there's a lot of incorrect information swirling around about what it is. It's really not that scary, I don't believe, and the challenge is everybody doesn't, I shouldn't say everybody, it's easy to say we don't need rules until our neighbor does something that affects us. And I can't tell you how many times as a councilor I've been asked, why doesn't the town do something about X? Well, if there's no rules where X exists, then there's no rules for the town to enforce. So it's all about being good neighbors and good use. And so if you have any questions, reach out. And there are ways to get exemptions and to get amendments. So there is a process. It's not set in concrete.
Okay. Now I need a mover and seconder for the bylaw.
On the original motion. You voted on the amendment. You haven't voted on the original motion yet.
Yeah, I did. Where the amendment didn't pass, and then I said on the unamended.
And you spoke about the unamended, but you haven't voted on it yet.
Oh, yes, you're correct. Of course you're correct, Jeff. I got you. I see where you're going. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the second reading kind of threw me out. Okay. All right, okay. So the original, as it stands, bylaw Z-4 being the zoning bylaw for Municipal District of St. Stephen be amended incorporating recommendations of PRAC and given its second reading as the summary that was read. Any questions on that? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, thank you. All right, mover and seconder for bylaw Z-4 being the zoning bylaw for the Municipal District of St. Stephen, given its third and final reading by title.
Moved.
Councilor Wright? Second. Councilor Harding? Questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, thank you. Motion carried. Okay, request for decisions. Let's see, what is this? Okay, I need a mover and seconder that council approve the Community Wellbeing Task Force terms of reference as presented and directs the CAO to undertake the steps necessary to create the task force. Councilor Greenlaw, Councilor Rodas. Questions? Councilor Rodas?
First off, thank you. I think this is great, and I think it's well needed, and I'm excited for what's to come from this task force. I was speaking with Minister David Hickey. He said they have a really great task force in Fredericton, and it's compiled of a lot of business members, people that reside close to their shelter, also people with lived experience, and the operators themselves. That was one thing I was wondering if we can include, if the operator would be okay with it, having a seat at the table as well, because I do think it's important that, you know, whoever is actually operating the shelter that we're concerned about, or whoever is, and the rest of the people at the table are all at one table, and therefore we can have all perspectives so that we can have recommendations come to us that actually are well informed from all perspectives. So that would be my only request. Is that the other thing I had a note about is one representative from Department of Social Development. I just wondered if we could clarify that a little bit more, and I would hope that that member would be somebody, not like a local member, but somebody a little bit higher up within the department, whether it's the EA or anybody who can attend, even if the minister can't.
Yes, we have two things there. One in operations.
Operator, and they could be included in that 3 community representatives with expertise or lived experience. So just the operator being one of them, and then the representative from the Department of Social Development. I would say you could even change that to a representative from the provincial task force, or a representative they send to the meeting. For instance, their EA or somebody else who can take notes and bring it back directly to them. Then it keeps everybody around the table in the loop with one another. I know that's a big ask of them, but if we're not going to have our MLA sitting at this task force, then I think that's the only way to involve the province in the discussion on a local level.
Yeah. You see any issue with that, Jeff? Like for getting them, like, is there a way we can sum that up so we can have those people allowed to come?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, as far as the social development representative, my assumed approach was I would be working directly with Deputy Minister Meehan to have him assign the most appropriate individual. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an Alex St. Onge or somebody like that I've been working with previously on the concerns and file down here. But I was going to go directly to the Deputy Minister and let him find his most appropriate resource, hopefully. I don't like for that reason, I don't like being too specific on when we're doing the terms of reference when it deals with other levels of government. They have their own bureaucracy and their own way of assigning people, so don't want to make presumptions. As far as the operator, I think you hit the nail on the head that that would fall into the other locals with expertise to bring to the table. I think one of the reasons, and for the record, the terms of reference were kind of co-developed by myself and Mr. Fitch and Mr. Arsenault following their presentation at Committee of the Whole. But I think one of the things that when I approached it, it was the shelter and the concerns around the shelter and things like that obviously are a driving force. But you'll notice from the task force that the mandate is a little wider than that. And that was the intention, and I even talked to Mr. Arsenault and Mr. Fitch when they were in my office about being, yes, we need to deal with that, and that may be priority one in the early days, but also being a clearinghouse for other social well-being type issues where we can bring concerns to the table, talk through legal mandates from our side, concerns from the citizens on their side, and figure out where those learnings and knowledge can come together and feedback to the community as to what can and can't be done and how we can approach certain issues, which is one of the reasons that I didn't necessarily want to specifically earmark the shelter operator as a permanent member of the group, because that might ebb and flow over time. And if the shelter is relocated or if it's other mitigation efforts go in place, that might not be the number one priority, and it might be a need to shuffle the deck a little bit when it comes to certain expertise at the table. But yeah, so that was my thinking on it. But obviously, it's your guys' task force if you're going to approve it, and if you're more comfortable with the dedicated seat being named, that's an amendment that you guys can certainly make.
So clarify this in case I'm wrong. I think what we have here doesn't even need to be amended. It will cover what Councilor's asking for. It's because the operator's covered in that one, and the other one could cover the minister under social development. Yeah.
I believe it is, but again, it's if there's a discomfort or more clarity required by council, that we can write that in. It's up to you.
Or Councilor Islett?
I think it's even covered under the next sentence. It says council may adjust membership composition as required, so to ensure balanced representation. So it's all in there, right?
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Thank you, Council. Okay, where's the title of this one? There's no title. Okay, I need a mover and seconder for the proposed resolution with no title. I got to read that whole resolution? Okay, all right.
You do have a mover because it came as notice of motion. The submitter is automatically the mover. Yep.
And seconded by Councilor Cornish. Okay, any questions? Councilor Wright?
I have one, perhaps two. But when I read the notice of motion, the sentence that says to seek the relocation and removal of the existing homeless shelter from within the municipality's boundaries, our boundaries are very broad. And we just passed third reading and adopted a municipal plan that has zones that are deemed more appropriate for emergency shelters. And so I'm not comfortable voting for a motion that goes against another motion that we just passed. I believe that's counterintuitive. So that would be the first issue with it. But the second issue was moving it outside of the municipal boundaries at all. Those with expertise in the field, if you've attended any of the sessions, which I have a lot, it needs to be walkable to groceries, to services. And our boundary, if you put it outside of our boundary, that's not something I could ever support. They are citizens of our community, regardless of what we may think of behaviors and actions. They are somebody's child, somebody's mother, somebody's brother, somebody's sister. And there have been a lot of success stories come out of the shelter, if you take the time to ask about it. And while the current location may not be ideal, I think everybody agrees that. But to say we're moving it out of our municipality altogether would be not something I can support for those two reasons.
Thank you. Councilor Rodas?
I have maybe a an alternative suggestion, but whenever I've spoken with the concerned citizens myself at length, and I've never had the feedback from them that it would be healthy to move it 100% completely outside of the municipal. I mean, our municipal boundaries are huge now. I've heard the feedback that from our downtown core and in such an urban residential area, yes, definitely needs to be moved. And I think Mark Grullo made a good point about how the discussion of the current location not working. There is plenty of debate, and I think the debate is healthy, and I think it's important, and I think it's necessary. And I do agree, right now, things aren't working. And it's not really in alignment with the way that our downtown plan is going to look in the future. But now that we've developed this task force, I would much prefer to support the citizens in bringing back their feedback to us about their recommendations of where they feel it should be moved, or if there are specific town properties that could be looked at. There could be a bit of a switch where potentially that location is served as something else, maybe secondary housing, but again, that involves an operator sitting at the table and having those conversations. But I think it is important that it's citizen-led. And I understand, Councillor Harding, why you made this motion, and it does make sense to me. I hear you. I think, however, you would be an excellent addition to the task force because you represent a very large voice on this subject, and I think you would be the best counselor to sit at that table and work with those citizens. So that would be my suggestion, rather than us making this motion that legally doesn't even feel like it's correct. I don't even know if we have the authority to make these kinds of decisions at the table. But I nominate you, I guess, to take this conversation to that table and work with the citizens to move forward on next steps.
Okay. Well, actually, you got a few questions there too, Deputy Mayor, because I know where you're going to go. So, go ahead. I'll let you go.
Okay. I'm just wondering if I could call on Alex to explain that 6.4 use of overload zone, because I think this would pertain to the shelters, right? I was going to read it together.
So yeah, that's correct. The new municipal plan and zoning bylaw do specifically address this issue around the shelter location and the idea of working towards phasing it out, but also recognizing there's a need for emergency shelter spaces. And so to adopt a bylaw that phases out but not provide an alternative future location, it doesn't address the need. So this is in your plan and your bylaw, you have two sites that are pre-zoned that have been part of the community information session. They've been available publicly to review, and those two sites have been zoned for potential emergency shelter, but with conditions. For example, having a treed buffer around the lot line, having a privacy fence established at the beginning, having 24-hour site supervision. So some of these pieces would be a part of any sort of development proposal for a different shelter location at these potential sites. But they're zoned, and council could look at using one of those sites, which is on municipal property, to negotiate with any operator, and that would be a potential.
So where it's located now, it wouldn't qualify for this.
So, like as Councillor Wright said, if you're in existence and legal today, you're a pre-existing use and you would be grandfathered in. So that means that you can't expand the operation, you can't alter the building. It's kind of as is, where is in its current state till such a time it's replaced with a legally conforming use. So it wouldn't be permitted to, say, add to that shelter space at 9 Main Street after tonight.
Yeah, I got something to add, but you go ahead, Brian.
Going back to Marg's proposal, I believe she's on the right track. I know it needs some modifications, and I do understand why she said outside the municipal district of St. Stephen. Representing the rural area, basically we don't want drug addicts or drugs in the rural area no more you do in the urban area. Now, when the task force gets together, I strongly suggest, as I did the last time, we've got to weed out what homeless is and what drug addiction is. Drug addiction, we should put a process in it where they go, they live, they get treated, they're released. If not, they're incarcerated. The other one is, I feel sorry for anybody that's homeless. But some of the acts that I hear that's going on in this town from my sources, I don't know if I would classify this as homeless, Mark. I would have to I don't know what the word is. Undesirables, I have no idea what it is. But anyway, the bottom line is, where we ship them to, what we do with them, I think the task force should be highly commended for what they're doing. But I also say, I represent the rural area, and we really don't want this activity in the rural area either. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. So what we did tonight is we voted on the Z4, which lays the land out where these types of places can go. Plus, we also voted for a task force. Oh, I didn't know you were, sorry. I thought everyone was done talking. But I want it's kind of bits and pieces of this we spoke about tonight. And so we got a task force and we did the zoning thing. This would kind of go, not kind of, it does go against what we just voted on. So I believe we should allow these things to do their work and in this process, and maybe out of that task force, they'll design a better resolution to present to council. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you. I didn't bring this motion forward because of last week's comments. This has been in the works for a long time for me. But I'm bringing it forward because I feel really sorry and upset for the people who have to live in this area. Yes, I think it should be moved. There's no question that I think it should be moved. The little bits of things that I see as I'm going downtown is ridiculous. Yes, these people are vulnerable, but if they're vulnerable, why in hell can't they behave themselves? There's nobody there at that shelter to make them behave. I think that that would be a good first step, maybe to remove the people and put somebody in that knows how to handle them. But anyway, I feel extremely sorry for the people who have to live there. And although it's not the reason that I brought this motion forward, and do I expect to be voted on in a positive way? No. But I do think that I think this task force, and thank you, Emily, for those kind comments, I think that task force will be on the right road to fix this up. We can only hope so, because these people, it's Christmas time coming, and they don't want to be looking at this bullshit. Thank you.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on the task force if this gets voted down, then we'll get the task force well, okay. Yeah. All right. So maybe we just go to that and we'll get the task force to work. All right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. We had a mover, we had a seconder, we had our questions. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Okay, so it's been voted out. Okay. Anyway, we got lots of work to do. We did all the other things in line to take care of this. All right. Mover and seconder, please, for that council approve the establishment of a full-time communication officer position within the municipal district of St. Stephen, and that council authorize the CAO to, 1, finalize a job description and ban the position within the existing compensation framework, 2, proceed to recruitment, and 3, incorporate the approved costs into the current forthcoming operating budget, adjusting forecasts as required.
So moved. Second.
Councilor Harding, Councilor Wright. All those in favor? Oh, sorry, questions? Sorry. Councilor Greenlaw.
Just on the compensation and the compensation package, it would obviously be a management position, wouldn't be unionized, right? And I'm just looking at some of these things, like when you look at benefits and statutory, 22 to 28%. You're saying pension, EI, CPP. So EI and CPP would come out of the wage, not be in addition to the wage. And I'm thinking that, the scale might be a little bit high. With the upper end, you've got it, over 110,000. And I've just done a little research around there, and I think we can go a little lower than that. So I'd like to see the top end drop to about 105.
Now, Mr. Chair, I heard you said it was a non-union position, right? I knew that. I just want to make sure I heard you right. Yep. Okay. Do you want to comment on the figure?
I mean, the figure will always come down to the candidate, the qualifications the candidate brings with them. It's always nice to have room to work when you have a superstar fall in your lap, and if you're underfilling, obviously you bring it down. So the range was there. It's an estimated range, and then negotiations occur. So totally, we never want to overpay more than we need to, for sure. But we also want to pay for quality, I think, is where we're coming from on this one. And it will be an exceptionally demanding position in the first few years, given if this is approved, given the demands that we currently have in-house, as far as the demands from the citizenry for more communications. Anybody who's been on the website of late knows that several sections have been down for construction because of issues that citizens have had, but we just don't have the dedicated resources to put on these things. So there's a lot of work to do there for quite a while. And we have a council has a rebranding project coming up that, again, is going to need a quarterback for the implementation side of that. So this is not going to be a light working job. It'll be very busy and require a broad set of skills, from social media to website to branding even as well. But the councillor makes a great point. If the market in the local market demands a lower top end figure, we obviously would be looking to bring that figure down wherever possible.
Any more questions? Councilor Rodas?
I think it's great, and I think that the community has been asking for this for an extremely long time, and we are getting such a huge influx of communication and requests for better communication, and I just feel like the community has spoken. They don't feel like we're doing a great job at it, and I'm in alignment with that, and I say that this is the best way to create a standardized role in which the person is competent in this area and can kind of bridge all the gaps that we're feeling as counselors and within all of your departments trying to piecemeal this position. So I'm all in, and I don't care if it's 117,000 or 83,000, as long as we get somebody who can do the job well.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. You might have had a follow-up. I didn't see it.
Yeah, so a couple things. So is this, are you going to establish a band, so many steps to get to the top end? Okay, so that's done. And then the reason why I say that is because this is published now. So anybody that applies for the job already knows what the top end is, right? Yeah, estimated, right? So that's what I mean. It's just, right? And you know as well as I do, day one, I've been crying for a communications officer.
Yes.
Right? I'm all for this. I just want to make sure we're fiscally prudent.
Just for those that, for those of you that did attend the session last night, and those of you that didn't, one of the things we did the old Monopoly game at the end of the session, and allowed participants to spend $1 million on various things. One of the options that was there was a communications officer or enhancements to communications in general. But we said we put a setup number of $100,000, and 15 people participated in the game at the end of the evening. 1/3 fully fund, chose to fully fund that position at the $100,000 level. Few others chose to put lesser amounts in there so we're supportive, but not necessarily to the same extent. But I wanted to share that data with you. Michelle just did all the math on all that stuff for me this morning, because I want those activities to weigh into decision making. I want people to know that we do actually collect that data and use it back and send it back to you at budget time. So that was the results there. It was 1/3 fully funded plus some other ones that were not fully funded.
Okay. Oh, more questions. Councillor Wright?
I was just going to make a comment that shortly after we got our agenda package, I was on social media and I saw another community, not even in our province, but in the Maritime region, putting out an ad for this same position, and the range was actually bang on for what we were advertising, or what was in our package to consider. So I was really pleased to see that. And I just want to note that benefits and statutory, in case anybody is wondering, also includes things like workers' compensation that the employer has to pay, and employers' share of EI and CPP and all of that. So don't think that somebody's just getting 22 or 28% more than what's in their base pay. That's what the municipality has to pay for the privilege of having an employee. So just wanted to clarify that, but it was also good to see that somebody in our region was advertising, number one, we're not the only ones, and number two, that the range was bang on with what they were offering.
Councillor Heislip?
Yeah, this is a good position to fill, and we've seen two councillors come up with two different HR things. That's why councillors don't get into HR, right? Because we could all search that. It's the same thing, or we could put the CAO's number in or his name and position in some kind of global thing and come up with an extravagant number like we've seen before. So I mean, that's why councillors don't get into HR, and we have him as an employee, Jeff as an employee, to do that for us. And as long as it's not unreasonable, and when something is unreasonable, we can see that. But I think that's a reasonable salary. So thanks for that.
All right, let's see if it's real. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're opposed? Yeah.
I was an HR manager.
All right.
I know.
Anyway, motion approved. Okay, Human Resource Coordinator position. Proposed resolution. Take a mover and seconder that council approve the establishment of a Human Resource Coordinator position for a 2-year term within the Municipal District of St. Stephen, and that council authorizes the CAO to finalize the job description and ban the position within the existing compensation framework. 2, proceed to recruitment, and 3, incorporate the approved cost into the current forthcoming operating budget, adjusting forecasts as required. Councillor Harding. Councillor Rodas. Questions? Yep. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have, in one of Council's strategic goals, we would establish administrative excellence as one of the key factors. And as we continue to deal with the shrinking of the corporate services department through attrition, one of the things that we are finding exceptionally challenging is to deal with the nuances of human resources. It is a demanding field that has a lot of tricky things and a lot of things that actually can create a lot of liability. And combine that with the honest assessment that the town of St. Stephen merging into the MDSS, while admirable efforts have been made on the HR front, has not done it exceptionally well. We have policies, HR policies on the books that I can legitimately tell you were typed on a typewriter. We have policies that are currently on the books that leave one quite open to a human rights complaint. And we just don't have, again, we don't have the time to be correcting everything that needs to be corrected as quickly as it needs to be corrected. We also are transitioning to a digital HR management system right now. We just had the startup meeting this afternoon with the contract the council previously approved. That will also feed into digital payroll, which takes a lot of burden off of our current staff. That project needs to be quarterbacked by someone who has knowledge in this area. Our team is doing admirably, But when we're setting up a new system from the ground, it's nice to have someone who has experience with these things and can make sure it's built appropriately from day one, as opposed to us working with it and then trying to fix it later. So we have a lot of work to do for at least the next couple of years to get things where we need it to be, which is why I'm suggesting it as a contract position. Come 24 months afterwards, the position can be reevaluated by the council of the day to determine whether it's required on a permanent basis, or all the technology that we've got set up and stuff, we can transition away from the body and just work on the tech. So, but this is a one that there are staff in this room I know that would be really keen for you to vote in favor of. But yeah, we'll leave it to your questions and debate.
Councilor Greenlaw.
Just want to say I don't have any issues with this one. Like the range, the whole works of it, right? See the value, right? So this is good.
All right, so let's vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, need a mover and seconder to accept the correspondence as acknowledged and received, and as a thank you note from Carol Baker for the Terry Fox. Councilor Greenlaw, did I hear Councilor Harding? Yeah. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And thank you, Carol Baker, for all your hard work and dedication of many years. And she don't give up. You tell her you're going to talk to her later, you're going to talk to her later. And she'll get you. And that's what it takes when you're fundraising. Determination. So thank you, Carol. Okay, mover and seconder to accept the council reports as acknowledged and received. Councilor Heislip, Councilor Greenlaw. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. And I'll take, need a mover and seconder that pursuant to section 68 bracket 1, the Local Governments Act, council moved to a closed session for the purpose of discussing potential land disposition and negotiation of an agreement.
So moved.
Councilor Rodas, Councilor Wright. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Moving into closed.